I forgot something really major in this story. So we're actually going to go a little bit back. So at this point, so I've had my business about 4 months, right? We're into the Christmas season. I really spent, so it was like the summer, I was up in Northern California. Feel me, just see if I get the timeline correct. September, October, November, December. About 4 or 5 months of starting my business. And actually, that's not correct because I started my business before September. So again, it's been a while, but the point that this isn't the important part. The point that I'm trying to get at is that right before I dropped out of UCLA, technically after I had dropped out, but in the 4 weeks that were left of the spring quarter, okay, 2014, I participated in an entrepreneurial competition. And it is worth mentioning that I was the youngest finalist, okay, chosen for the United States. It just so happened that the Falling Walls entrepreneurial competition took place it was hosted at the UCLA campus that year, and then the finals are always in Berlin. So if I remember correctly, 3 finalists end up going to Berlin. So not only was I the finalist chosen, I didn't make it to the top three, but not only was I the youngest finalist chosen for the United States, um, there was something else. There was something else actually. I think, if I'm not mistaken, even though I guess technically I wasn't a student, but there weren't any other undergrads, everyone else was like master's and PhD students. So I didn't necessarily have any business, right? Um, Presenting to venture capitalists, but I did the damn thing and I'm damn proud of myself for doing it. And you know what? I do have to credit Jane for really pushing me to do this because I mean, these were real venture capitalists with real money to throw around, and I had to come up with a real presentation and a real business plan and a real, model. And so my project was, because the whole point of the Falling Walls project was breaking the wall. It was based on the fall of the Berlin Wall, was breaking the wall of some barrier. And so my project was breaking the wall of education for independent college students. And it was very much a franchise model, literally based on the business that I had started, right? So the whole idea and purpose was that we would have these centers where there are college campuses, that places where there are hubs of that, where independent college students, aka students like myself, previous and former foster care students who are independent, parents, students for whatever reason didn't have a relationship with their parents, which I did not at the time. And mind you, this is all very abstract. Um, I was all of 20 years old. 1920, okay. So anyway, the idea is that these centers would be staffed by these students who could also live there. And given I had also had a good amount of data that was showing the trend, which was only proven what I had said, mind you, now only more than 10 years later, by the way, that pet ownership was on the increase, was on the rise, as the cost of starting a family also increased. People, and this has been studied many times, that people have actually opted to have pets instead of having children. And the interesting part of the data is that they are still spending a shit ton of money on their pets. I don't know what the figures compare to children. I would imagine still far less. But anyway, that was my pitch. That was the gist of my presentation. Of course, I was the very first one to talk. I'll never forget that. And that was that. that was that. That was exciting. I mean, I did it. I think there were something like 30 finalists. And yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't make it, and I'll post somewhere in this video. I'm definitely gonna post a picture. But anyway, before I continue, I definitely had to include the falling walls competition in there. And I do have to thank Jane for really pushing me to do that. I wouldn't have done it without her encouragement. And she told me about it. And technically, I was not a student. So I was like kind of lying, saying that I was a student. Obviously, the full story's here. Y'all know what was going down. But anyway, that was the falling walls competition. So now we're going to jump to the beginning of 2015. In the next video, I will tell you about re-entering school, not university, because I would not hear back for another couple of months, but November is always the year when you apply to University of California. So I'll talk more about how that went down and what transpired going into 2015. So talk more about that in the next video.